Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Be Green with Amy Live. I'm Amy. And back in 2012, my hubby and I lost over 130 pounds. And now we are continuing our journey to keep it off. But not only that, but help others do the same. And I have been doing this podcast for a while now. And one of my favorite guests is joining us today. And that is Esther Loveridge. Welcome, Esther.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Is my mic on?
Yes, you are on, and we can hear you and see you just fine.
Oh,
And I love when you come on, and there's so much anticipation when you come on the show with us because people just love to hear you talk. And I think even if you weren't talking about the whole food plant-based lifestyle, they would still come because they would just want to hear what you had to say, you
oh,
know?
well, I think I might have mentioned one time before when I was in the sixth grade, my
Mhm.
teacher said, and he actually wrote it in my autograph book, and he said, Esther, you will grow up to be a fine woman sometime if you learn not to imitate other women by talking so much. But I have so much to say.
That's right.
I have
That's
so much
right.
to say. So that was a
Oh.
for you.
I tell you, some of those people from our childhood, we just need to go. If they were still walking the earth,
Yes.
we could show them a thing or two.
Right. That's right. Well, you look
Well,
wonderful, Amy. It's good to be here.
well, for those of you that aren't familiar with Esther, but she's growing in fame, and a lot of people do love her. We actually Jennifer Hamilton said, "Love Esther Lebeck Loveridge." So, yes, and we're glad that you're here, Jennifer. Thanks for joining us. And Janet, oh, Mona says, "Hi, hi. Greetings, Mona." And Janet said, "Yes, Esther is the best." Isn't that nice? So you all already have a little fan club, and they're all coming in the door now and joining us.
It's
But for those of you that are not familiar with Esther and her story, because we're going to be talking about this new thing that Esther's doing with her lifestyle, which is she's been doing vegetables only. So that's going to be very interesting to hear about. And we want to really hear more about that. But before that, I just want to, if we could just talk a little bit about your story just for a few minutes, just to catch people up if they're not familiar. So if
oh,
you want to
sure.
tell us about that.
Well, we often wonder if there's life after retirement, right? Well,
Yeah.
there is. There is. When I was 72, that was almost 8 years ago, I weighed 200. I had been up to 282 pounds, and I had lots of health issues. But I didn't think I was sick because I could cope with everything. I had sleep apnea, I had a sleep machine, I had diverticulitis, I had GERD, I had pre-diabetes, I had high blood pressure and cholesterol. I had all of those things listed on my chronic ongoing conditions at Kaiser. But the only thing that caught my attention was when my knees got bad enough that they threatened to keep me from traveling, and I did not want that to happen. So, long story short, I came home from this trip in Ireland not knowing how I would make it to China in the fall with my knees being so bad and being on pain medication. So, like all of us, we go to the guy or the woman with the white jacket and say, help.
Hmm.
And my doctor was not a plant based doctor. I didn't know anything about veganism or vegetarianism. That wasn't even on my radar. But my dear friend just gave me a book thinking that it could be the answer for me. And I don't have it right here in front of me, but it was John McDougall's the McDougall Program for Maximum Weight Loss. And like so many of you, I tried Tops, I tried Weight Watchers, I tried a 600 calorie diet, I tried going to a diet center, I tried, everything. And I could lose weight, but not keep it off. It would just always come back with a vengeance, kind of like these viruses. You
Oh,
come back only stronger.
yeah.
So, and the doctor said, well, I could put you on, I could put some injections in your knee, or you could continue taking your pain medication to get through your next trip. Or he said, I could refer you to orthopedics for a knee replacement. But he says you'd have to lose 70 pounds first. Well, this was July of 2016. Well, needless to say, he didn't tell me how to lose the 70 pounds either.
No.
So I went home and I got this book and I thought it's so different from anything I'd ever tried. But I was almost mad, having gone through so many ways. And I referred to Dr. McDougall as a sucker, and I said, I'm going to put that sucker to the test and see if it works. And so I wanted to be my own experiment. And I'm still experimenting with my body, which is another topic. But
Yes.
the thing is, I took charge of it, and I decided I was going to follow that book, because if I didn't do as good an experiment as possible, I couldn't attest to the fact, did it work or did it not work? So I gave it my all, probably 92%. And it worked. It worked. And so, needless to say, he's my guru. He's my doctor. He's my inspiration. He's my leader. He's just has been the one who has guided me and given me the tools I needed at the age of 72 to turn my life around. And so,
Right.
yeah, I got rid of all my diseases, got rid of all my medications. I got rid of all my 130 pounds. 155 altogether, but I only count what I lost on his program. And even got rid of my glasses, and I didn't have to have surgery on my knee, and I didn't have to have surgery in my eye. And, it's just, to me, it's a miracle how food and faith and determination can turn your life around, even at an old age woman.
Well, your number is big, but your heart is big too, and I think the youth has really come out in you, and in all that you're doing and giving to the world and sharing this information with everyone. And we just have to know that it's not too late. And so many people, even younger than you, say, "Oh, it's too late for me." So we know that it's not. And you're really evolving in what you're doing. We're always learning. I'm always learning. And that's one of the reasons why I love to do this broadcast, is because I get to learn from doctors and registered dietitians, but I also get to learn from people who are actually in the trenches doing it, like you. And, when I was overweight. My husband was obese. So I'm familiar with what food addiction can do. And just because you lose all the weight doesn't mean that the little voice inside of you, it may be quieter, but I don't know if it ever really goes away, that little voice that says, "Oh, just this once," or whatever. I mean, it's a lot easier, I think, right? After this amount of time, you can just hush it up.
Well, it is easier after a time, but I will, as I get into what I'm doing now, I will tell you it is even easier now. I mean, it's like that voice is gone. It's just been a wonderful transformation for me. And but yes, it's all baby steps. It's all learning. It's doing what you're willing to do at that point in time. And then a week later, if you're willing to take another step, you do that, maybe eliminate something else. It's kind of like, do you pull the Band-Aid off slowly or quickly? And we all have different personalities.
Yes.
And approach this in a lot of different ways. And it's all okay, because we're all individuals, and we're all here to do what we're here to do. And none of us will do exactly what someone else does. So we don't need to copy anyone. Just go within and know what's right for you. And that's a powerful thing, to realize that you do have the answer for you. But we're insecure people sometimes, and we think we have to follow somebody or do what somebody else does, but it's possible. Just listen to yourself, listen to your body.
But it's nice to get ideas from people, because what works for one doesn't necessarily work for the other. And you've experimented with a few different things with this plant-based lifestyle. So lately, let's talk about what you've decided to do lately, because we told everybody that today we're going to be talking about vegetables only, just vegetables. So tell us about what made you think about this and how it's going along.
All right. I meant to get out Dr. McDougall's book too, on the healthiest diet on the planet, because in that book he does refer to the Daniel's fast. Now, if you've been raised in a religious family, you might know about the book of Daniel in the Bible. And if you don't know about it, that's okay too. But it's a story about a man who was in a situation like so many of us are in. And that's that the king, had taken him into his kingdom, and he wanted him to eat like all of his other warriors did, which was eating a lot of rich food and alcohol and that sort of thing. So I'm kind of paraphrasing from how I interpret the story. But what I got from chapter 1 is that at the beginning, he said, I cannot eat the way you do, but why don't we do a contest and see who's the strongest? So I believe it's a 10-day period of time where he ate his vegetables and water like he normally did. And the king's men ate what they did from the king's table with all the dainties.
Okay. It looks like
Over time, did I leave?
Yeah, we lost you. So you said something about the king. That was where you left off.
Okay. And so the king's men ate their ordinary way, and Daniel ate his ordinary way. And then for 10 days, they did this experiment, right? So at the end of the 10 days, they tested, and Daniel was stronger than all of the king's men who've been eating all the meat and all the other stuff, you know. So I'm thinking, well, this story is there for a reason. I mean, it's not a fairy tale unless if you think it is, well, you could use it that way too. I mean, we all believe in Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and use it to our advantage. So I decided a long time ago, I thought, I want to evolve even more because I'd gone from the standard American diet to following Dr. McDougall's maximum weight loss, which is more stringent than his starch solution. So it's already reducing things down, like, you know, you was no nuts and seeds and avocado and soy and flour products. So I thought, well, this is the next step, so why not try it? So I decided I would start it on New Year's Day because that's when we often start something new. And so I thought, I'm just going to do vegetables and water. And so I've been going to the farmer's market, and it's so much fun because each week I just buy my fresh produce, nothing's processed. And I come home and I cook in my Instant Pot and I eat it. And so then at the end of 10 days, I thought, you know, I really do feel good. And so am I going to stop? So then I thought, well, in chapter 3 of that book, it talks about him eating pulses. And the pulses, at least from near as I can tell, is interpreted as legumes or lentils. And so he's continuing a certain kind of eating program. So I thought, well, I might as well do it for 21 days. So then I did it for 21 days. And when that time was up, I thought, well, only 3 more days. I think it was only 3 more days when Lent was going to start. So I thought, Lent, the whole thing, including Sundays, was 46 days. So I thought, well, why don't I go through Lent? And I'll just be giving this up for Lent. So continue. So now, let's see, there's 31 days. Anyway, I think I'm up to day 95, I think, because I think I figured out on the 9th of April, that would be 100 days. So that's my next goal. And then I'm thinking, if I feel so good, why would I ever go back? So this may be a forever thing. And so I've had people in my group challenge me and they say, oh, well, don't you need fruit? And you know what a funny story is? Guess what? I've been eating fruit and didn't know it because in my mind, I had tomatoes as a vegetable. They're a fruit. I had cucumbers in my mind as a vegetable. They're a fruit. Had, let's see what else. I've had, I haven't had eggplant, but that would be still a fruit. And then the best vegetable of all is the snap sugar pea, because the outside pod is a vegetable and the pea inside is the fruit. So I am getting my fruits and vegetables. And of course, some people say, well, what about your starch? Well, potatoes are a vegetable.
Yes.
So I'm getting the root from the potatoes. I'm getting the flowers from the cauliflower. I'm getting the grass from the asparagus. I'm getting the fruit from the other vegetables. So the only thing I'm really lacking is beans and rice and fruit from a tree. So when you look at Dr. McDougall's maximum weight loss, he said not to eat more than 2 servings of fruit a day, but he didn't say you had to eat any.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He didn't say you had to eat any. I mean, you can.
Yeah.
And certainly this summer when fruits are local and so forth, I might go back. Because if you remember, for a while, I was on that lemon kick where I was taking lemons, putting them in the blender and blending them and starting my day that way. And then I realized I wasn't even hungry till about noon. So I practiced with that. So I'm just continuing to use my body as an experiment. But I tell you, I have never enjoyed garlic so much. And
I'm
so
gonna
I,
show some of the food that you posted on your
oh,
Facebook page.
yeah,
You take lovely pictures and the food looks just so good.
it is so good. And carrots are sweeter than ever. And then
Mm,
people, they're so, it's just so funny. I love all you people. I just love that you ask me these questions. And I hate that you say, well, do you use salt or do you use seasoning? I say, no, but you can.
yes.
You don't have to do what I'm doing. This is my bodily experiment. This is my spiritual journey for me. And it's just, in my view, has raised me to new heights. My mind is clear. I'm happy. I'm just full of life. And like this morning I got up and I put some cauliflower in there and some kale. And normally I wouldn't eat kale. And and put a whole clove, not a clove, but a whole bulb of garlic.
Yeah.
And when I take that garlic out and I just put it in the Instant Pot with a cup of water for 3 minutes, when I take that garlic out, I squeeze it kind of like I used to squeeze pumpkin seeds out of the shell. And I just squeeze that garlic out, and it's so good. It's like my new butter. I never knew garlic could be so wonderful. And Ben said I still taste pretty good. So I'm not worried about that. And when you eat so many vegetables, you don't have to drink so much water.
Hmm.
So I'm wondering now, all you water people, don't listen to me if you like to have your 2 gallons of water a day. But when you're eating more vegetables, there's so much water in the vegetables, I think it reduces the amount that we need. And also, I don't want to wash down my nutrients, so I don't drink when I'm eating. And I don't get that thirsty. And I reread Dr. McDougall's book online, to some of you lately. And he says, drink when you're thirsty. So I've given up, I do use this little thermos. I don't know if you can see it, but anyway, I use this little thermos now and I put some, because I like warm water. And so I
Hmm.
heat it up in the microwave and then I kind of sip on that. But I'm not so obsessed about how many ounces of water. I'm not obsessed about, I don't know. It's just like the food thing is gone. And when I go to a restaurant for a while, I wasn't ordering because it was just too hard to figure out what to do. And now I just figure out if worst comes to worst, I'll have a bowl of lettuce
Yeah.
and I'll take my potatoes with me before I go. So I'm not hungry or eat them afterwards. And so now I was feeling kind of bad because a couple of times I went to a meetup and I didn't order anything because I
Mhm.
didn't want to pay for something that
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
worth it.
Just for
But,
the sake of
but
eating.
now, but now I want to set an example of how we can find something to eat so that we can partake together. I don't want to set myself apart as so much of a weirdo that I could find nothing in the restaurant. So
Mhm.
now I've changed my mind, which is wonderful. Our mind is very
Yeah.
malleable. And I've changed my mind and decided I would rather pay money for something that looks very simple in the restaurant to be able to partake with the group and be one of them. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Mhm.
And so that's been working out in restaurants. And the thing that's so exciting for me is that now when I go to eat something, I only have one question to ask. Is it a vegetable? As I think of vegetables. Now, as I
Mhm.
mentioned earlier, some of the fruits of the vine are, I guess botanically they're fruits, but we use them as vegetables. So, and Dr. McDougall never said we had to eat beans and rice and tofu and potatoes and corn. Eat your starch, right?
Yeah.
So even though it appears I'm way off from what I started to lose all my weight, I'm really still on target.
Yeah. And I think it makes it interesting, I think, because after you've been on this lifestyle for a while, you kind of sometimes you fall into these ruts where you're cooking the same thing all the time and you're thinking and you're just kind of like on autopilot. And
Hmm.
then sometimes you just get something in your head like, I think I want to change things up. And I think it just
Yeah.
really it makes it interesting.
Yeah, and it's exciting to have the change up work,
Mhm. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
where if you don't want to ever go, because in the old way, like if we go out on Saturday night to one of our meetups, we go to a Mexican restaurant and they would make a nice burrito. They put beans and rice and potatoes in the burrito. But even having that, then Ben was not as strict as I was. So he had ordered a chimichanga, which is kind of like a fried burrito. So
Mm.
after I ate my big burrito, be that big, then on the way home, I'd eat his half a chimichanga,
Yeah.
because that oil was still drawing me in.
Yes.
And now that's gone. I have no desire. I haven't even had a desire for nuts. And maybe that time will come when I'll do that again. But for right now, I'm heading for that 100-day mark. It may be 366 days I'll do it.
Who
And
knows?
maybe I'll have a book. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I love feeling free of all of those addictions. I mean, I'm freer than I ever was before, because eating out in restaurants, you sometimes get that oil or get that salt that you don't have at home. And so now the only thing I've had in this 95 days is we went to Sizzler and had a wonderful salad bar there. And they do have quartered potatoes that have been lightly had some oil and salt on it. And we've been to Sizzler's twice, and I did that.
Yeah.
But in 96 days, that's as far as I have gone off. And that's eating just a vegetable. It's just that I know it had a little oil, a little salt on it. But other than that, I've had no salt. And the other thing is, if you're having no salt, your weight doesn't fluctuate so much. And eating in restaurants doesn't even matter. Because before, every time I would go to a restaurant, I would weigh more the next day when I was addicted to the scale. And then I would think I'd have to crash again to take that off, when it was just salt retaining my water. And so anyway, so now I have been weighing probably for the last week or so, because sometimes people say, are you losing too much? In fact, I say, Esther, are you losing too much? Well, no, I put on a little bit of weight. I think it just, again, during the holidays, it was fluctuating so much because of all the eating out. Even though I didn't eat any animal dairy, or milk or any of that stuff. But I did kind of go on candy a little bit that one night. But anyway, the point is, I went up to about 100, and I usually about 127 to 133 on there. And I hit one day 138. And so then I don't know what I weighed on January 1st, because I wasn't going to weigh. And now I'm back below my weight of 127. But I feel so good, and I feel almost sexy. I mean, I feel like I could strut a little bit if I wanted to. And my pants feel better, and I feel lighter, and I feel so good in my head. And I feel the best thing of all is not having that gnawing feeling a lot more. I love that feeling of having that addiction really feel like it's gone.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a process. And after losing the weight, it's still something that you have to think about sometimes, especially, the eating out. That can be a big deal too. Absolutely. I wanted to tell everybody that Esther's book, From Donuts to Potatoes, if you don't have this book, you have to get it. It is wonderful. Of course, and we'll talk about it later, that Esther has a Facebook page where she has all the entries of this book in the Facebook page. But she's offering this as a book giveaway to you Green Warriors. So I'm going to put that in the show notes. If you've gone on my website, begreenwithamy.com, my Facebook, my YouTube, Instagram, it's all there. And so you probably already have the information, and you probably already entered for the book giveaway. But if those of you that have not seen that, you can just go and look in the show notes if you're on YouTube, or you can send me a message if you haven't seen it. But yeah, you're going to have up to 6 ways to enter to get this wonderful book. And it is a lovely, lovely book. And it's got 365 days of words that are just so inspirational, plus a love story. And everybody loves a love story. We don't want to give that away. But what a great title. What a great book. And check it out. And you can also try to enter to win that if you want to do that too. I just wanted to let everybody know about that. So, Dixie said, you go, girl, Esther.
Hi, Dixie.
That's wonderful. Yeah. So I wanted to bring back the picture of one of the dishes that you had from the Instant Pot. And you talked about the bulb of garlic, and some people are asking about that. So about the cooking and the timing. So this particular plate of vegetables is something that you made in the Instant Pot. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me what's on it, and tell me the process that you went through to make it. And
Oh,
for those of you that aren't familiar, an Instant Pot is an electric pressure cooker that you can set it and leave the house and forget it, and it'll keep warm when it's done. So go
yeah.
ahead, Esther.
Yeah. Well, that looks like what I might have made this morning. Anyway, I just go to the farmer's market and get my fresh vegetables, except we still get carrots at Costco, and we still get our regular white potatoes there. And also, what else do I get? Anyway, mostly now I'm eating from the farmer's market because I like it fresh. Okay, so I just take a handful of kale and I cut it up and put it in the Instant Pot. And of course, it takes up a lot of room. And so then this morning, I only had room for one carrot and one stalk of celery and one whole bulb of the garlic. And so I had to kind of like, because I'm using lately just this little cute 3-quart Instant Pot. I used to use my 8-quart, but this little baby one I love because I can make that much food and I can eat all of that within one day. And so that's just kind of what I'm doing now. But bigger ones work as well. So that's basically just my greens and my garlic. And the garlic is so much flavoring, and carrots. And I think today I might have included, I can't tell in this picture, but cauliflower, a chunk of cauliflower. So there's no more recipes, people. This is so simple. You know, it's just whatever you have in your refrigerator, put in the Instant Pot, and then I add a cup of water. Oh, no, I don't think this was from today, because today I actually put
Yeah.
in a cup of potatoes. And I did cut them into eight chunks because when I put this in an Instant Pot with a cup of water, I just set the timer for 3 minutes. And if I put the potatoes in whole, they would not be done enough.
Now you're using that steamer rack? Are you using the
No,
steamer
I
rack, or are
never
you just
have.
throwing it right in the water?
Right? Yeah, just I put that in first, and I pour a cup of water in last. And
Excellent.
I never have used the steamer thing.
Okay.
And I only use one button on my Instant Pot, which is the pressure. Now, in my bigger Instant Pot, it said manual, I think, but
Mhm.
in this one, it just says pressure, and I hit that pressure, and I just set it for 3 minutes and put the lid on, and then if I'm in the kitchen when it finishes, I could release the steam, and it's ready to go. But yesterday, I had a speaking engagement, and it wasn't done before I left. So I thought, well, I'll just leave it on warm. And
Yeah.
that's the beauty of the Instant Pot, is because after the cooking time has ceased, then it just stays on warm. It doesn't keep on cooking. So I came home a couple hours later and I had cooked a whole half of a purple cabbage. And,
Ooh.
and I had the garlic in there and I had the greens in there. And I forget now, I'll have to look back on my pictures. But anyway, that purple cabbage, and I'm eating with my fingers more now. It's so much fun just to pick up a piece of the vegetable and just eat it and recognize it and taste it. And even when we went to Zest on Wednesday, I had a little salad. They made it all raw vegetables for me. And I even ate that with my fingers. I don't care about etiquette. It's just so much fun to use our body, you know, and think of before we had knives, forks, and spoons and had to put all that food, you know, shovel it in.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just rattling on here, but so it's just, and so this morning I timed it, and when I put in the cauliflower and the potatoes and the carrots and the celery and whatever, and the water and the, anyway, I timed it because it only takes 3 minutes to cook, but it does take time for the pressure to come up.
Yeah.
And so from the time I started it and took a picture of it until I could eat it, it was 18 minutes. So, and that was with a quick release. So it's really, really fun, people. Now, I don't know how you're going to do it when you've got husbands that are nasty to you, or you have children that whatever. You just have to decide that you're going to have to do double duty.
Mm.
You have to serve your family with love and do the best you can. If they'll help you, if they'll cook their own food, you're blessed. If they're not, you know, I don't know. I wouldn't make it a deal breaker. But I do know I love Ben, and he cooks his own food. Like after I did, he got up early this morning and he cooked the oat groats because he likes the chewiness of groats. And then after I made my veggie pot, then he made some more potatoes for his lunch. And but he's happy, I'm happy, and life is good. I mean, it's just really, really good.
Yeah, it is. And you're right. I mean, it can be a challenge when you have people in the household that may not necessarily be doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And but I've heard so many people who have just kept going with this lifestyle if they had a spouse or a partner or family member or whatever. And eventually a lot of them wound up getting on board, and they just had to figure out what, they have to want it more than for themselves than we do, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think any of us like to be told what to do.
No, I don't want to be told how to eat either.
The men in our lives didn't marry us because they needed another mother.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have to be really careful about even saying that everybody should eat this way. I think it was Wayne Dyer said, we should on somebody. And I think we have to keep our eyes on our own plate, on our own life, in all ways, not only just the food, but any kind of a new endeavor we want to do. I think it's really important to do what we want in life and allow our spouse to do what they want, even if we think it's not the best. It's their life. We don't own them. They're a free agent just as much as we want to be a free agent. And so that's all. And I say world peace comes down to who you're living with. Because if we can't create world peace in our own little worlds, our own little houses, how do we expect the governments to do it? So peace is letting somebody be who they are and loving them right where they are.
Oh, that's beautifully said. You always have such beautiful things that you say, and I think that's why a lot of people like to hear what you're saying. And Plant Power Peddler Janet said, "I love her story." Yeah, she has a great story. Some people are just tuning in and they're asking about the book giveaway. So I just want to remind everybody, yes, we're having a book giveaway for Esther's book, From Donuts to Potatoes. And after the broadcast, you'll go in the show notes and you'll see it, or you can go on my website, begreenwithamy.com, and I'll have it on my Facebook page, my Instagram. It's going to be all over to show you how you have up to 6 ways to enter to win this wonderful book. Or you can just go get it, on Amazon. It's a really wonderful book, and it's very inspirational. And and Esther's always so generous. Every time she comes on, she offers a book for a book giveaway. That doesn't mean she always will, but she has so far. And just the fact that you come on the show and you're so generous with your time, that's enough. But you did that too, and we really very much appreciate that you do that for us.
Well, I must throw out something just because I love you so much, Amy. When you asked me if I donated a book, I got scared, and I thought, oh, I only have 2 left. And what am I going to do, And I just didn't know if I should write another book or if I should just reorder more books. And I didn't know really what to do. And, our lives are so much fuller when we come from a spirit of prosperity instead of one from lack. And so I thought, why am I lacking, only having 2 left? Why don't I just order some more? So for all of your people, if you want a signed copy, you can order one directly from me if you want to, or you can, if you don't care about the signing, you can just get one on Amazon. And all of my royalties go to Dr. McDougall because I love him so much too. So either way, it's a winner. But I did order and they have come.
Oh, well, it's just so wonderful. And later on, we're going to ask you to read. You have the book near you, right? Because I always love to ask you to read one of the pages from the book during the broadcast. So, what do you think? Are you thinking about incorporating anything else in the coming week or so as far as the vegetables? Because you seem to have a certain repertoire that you've made.
Well, I'm just going to go by what's at the farmer's market. If it's there, I'm going to, well, not totally, because they do sell honey and quail eggs of all things. So it's not, but I'm, you know what I'm talking about, the vegetables. I'll just keep buying what's fresh and in season. And how long this goes, who knows? I don't know, but I don't know. I'm just taking a day at a time. And I know that on April 9th, that's kind of a special, that was my in-laws' wedding date. But anyway, that'd be 100 days. And then see, when I put the book together, that was leap year, just like this is leap year. So I'm just leaping into a new evolution. And I want to say this too, because I just got this book this week, and it's What the Health. And it's about that movie, What the Health. I strongly recommend everyone to watch that. It really opened my eyes to what's going on. But as I was reading this morning, I was getting depressed with all of the ways the health industry is not supporting our way of life. So I thought I'm just gonna zoom to the later part of the book where he actually, or the woman, I guess, that writes this. She, in chapter 17, it says the next stage in human evolution, vegan athletes. So that's an exciting chapter because these athletes are the strongest people in the world and they're vegan, you know. And so when you read their stories, it's like, hey, maybe there really is something to evolution, you know. And then I was talking to Linda Middlesworth this last week, and she has this V Dog food company, you know,
Yes.
where her dog only eats the V Dog. I think her son runs the company now. But anyway, I said to her, I said, Linda, I said, do you think things are changing to the point where no dogs would have to eat meat? And she said, oh, and she went into her little spiel and said, oh, yes, there's this enzyme, and she knows all about it.
Right.
So there is evolution going on.
Yes.
There really is. And we can be a part of it. So when you think of it, we're at the forefront of this, you know, and it takes people like us to catch the light and spread it and get excited about it instead of thinking, oh, I can't have meat or I can't have that. Say, no, I'm like Mickey Mouse Club. I'm the leader of the band. I'm leading the force. I mean, we can all, as we get enlightened to how we don't need to kill and slaughter all these animals. And then the other thing I'm excited about, I know I'm just effervescing, but I can't help it, is that movie, Christspiracy. And that was only out for 2 days. And I got to see it when Jennifer was here visiting us. And it was wonderful. So people who are Bible thumpers, you know, it's worth looking at. If you want to know what would Jesus do, you know, they're saying, no, nada. You know, the loaves and the fishes. Well, there's another version where he only had the loaves. And then you look at the Last Supper and there was no fish there. And then the reason why he got killed was because he was messing with their economy. Because I'm just relaying the movie as I saw it.
Oh, well, it looks like Esther somehow. Oh, I think she's coming back.
Oh,
yeah, we lost you for just a second. You were relaying the movie as you saw it, and then you were gone. But you're back.
Okay. Well, I'm back. So anyway, in the movie, Jesus is said to have said that that this was supposed to be a house of prayer, you know, the temple. And what they did is that's where they brought all the animals to slaughter as sacrifices, and they were selling them. And so this guy that did the movie, Cameron, he went back into the old Hebrew text and learned that the word for thieves, you know, because we have always heard they turned it into a den of thieves, that the word for thieves is really murderers. So if you want to get real radical about all this stuff, you know, that's what's the problem in the world is all this animal abuse because we get desensitized and treat each other that way. So if we ever expect, you know, I'm starting to preach now that thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Let's create heaven now. And maybe it's already here. And the more we give up killing animals and live in peace with one another, hey, oh, happy day. Who
Yeah.
knows?
I think that it does. It starts with the animals. I really do. Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't even have a clue at the beginning. I mean,
Yeah.
it was all
Most
about
of us didn't.
looking good or being able to travel. It was very selfish, you know. So
Yeah.
that's a lot of food for thought out there.
Yes.
You know,
Yes,
and
it is.
I don't prescribe that anybody think the way I do, but my mind is open to wanting to know more and more about how we can continue to love one another, most of all, love each other in spite of our differences, because love is the answer. And that's why I do what I do, because I love you.
Oh, I'm so touched. I know that you love everybody that's watching and you have so much love to share. And that we have a lot of comments that Dixie said, I also followed Dr. McDougall's maximum weight loss and released 75 pounds and have kept it off 11 years and counting. Wow, Dixie, you are a green warrior.
He is. He is.
Oh, how wonderful. I love when I hear people say things like that, you know, and because there's a lot of people out there that are struggling and they think that it can't be done. And they also think, oh, you have to be somebody special. You have to have some kind of, willpower, whatever it is. And everyday people are doing it and really being successful.
Yes.
So, Plant Powered Peddler Janet said, I've only maintained for going on 3 years, but it's a miracle. Only, no, that is not an only,
It's
Janet.
huge.
Yes, she's been on the show, and I call her the queen of the Instant Pot because she's peddling. That's why she's Plant Powered Peddler, because she's actually cycling around, and she brings an Instant Pot with her. She brings a rice cooker with her, and she knows that no matter where she's traveling with her bike, she figures out how to eat the compliant food. And that's, so it's not an only. I applaud you, and she's just fabulous, and she's had really great success. And I think you have to have a certain mindset, and she's somebody, Janet, somebody that she failed Weight Watchers big time, and she called herself that she was always she's always on the Weight Watchers in different places, and nothing worked for her, and then she finally discovered the lifestyle. So, for those of you that have been struggling, this is not anything like a Weight Watchers, because you get to eat a lot of food. and that's what we're about.
Well, Weight Watchers never takes you out of that bad environment.
No, it doesn't. And it just to me, it's a lot of feeling bad about yourself, because it's the expectations that they put on people. I mean, maybe there are some people that can hold their breath and only breathe a couple of times a minute, but I like to breathe at a regular pace. And that, so nobody should feel bad if they can't do that.
Yeah.
Oh, Janet said, I tried everything until, and then she tried this lifestyle and it worked. So yeah, absolutely. So yeah, there's just I love having all these kinds of people on the show, because they all have their different stories, and different people can relate to different people, just depending on what they do. And Gail said, when we know better, we can do better, and aging can mean learning. Who knows what better changes you may make in the days ahead as you discover even more about optimal nutrition. Yes. I love that, Gail. That is so true. And it's just never too late to make a change in your life, and it's never too late to learn. And that's one thing a lot of things I admire about you, Esther, but one of the things I do admire about you is you're always open to learning more. You don't say, well, this is what's working and this is what I'm doing, and I'm just going to stick with this. And you open your eyes and you read and you learn and you listen. And sometimes you say, you know what, I think I'm going to try that. And you've been doing few little changes here and there, and experimenting with things and just seeing how it works for you.
Yeah. Well, it's like I wrote on Facebook today. I said, love is not, I forget how I said it, but anyway, love is not expecting everybody to follow your path. There's many paths to health, and many times when we're willing to do it. And I think the one thing, not that it makes us special, but the one thing I think that's our core belief is if we like ourselves. That really helps if you can move towards liking yourself, because then you're worth taking care of.
Oh, yes. Right. And to me, that's the key for getting anybody else on board with you, is that they have to see you be happy with what you're doing, and be happy with yourself. And then they can see the changes. I've had family members. I mean, I've been doing this since 2012, and I've had family members that are just now recently, embracing the lifestyle. So, and I just tried really my best not to talk too much about it when I was around them, just so that they could, they just watch you. People watch what you do, they really do. They watch more than they listen. So just lead by example. And if you're out eating with people, don't eat something just because you want to fit in, because then they'll say, well, obviously this is a very difficult thing to do, because this person can't resist eating this food when they're out with me. So, they're watching you for clues to see, can this really be done? So I think it's a good thing to think about.
Yeah, I had 61-year-old family member this last week have a stroke. And I
Oh.
bit my tongue. I didn't say a word.
Mm. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is just so it's so difficult to watch those things. So when you adopted this Daniel's fast, did you notice any physical or emotional changes?
Oh yeah, I really have, because I feel like I feel like oh, what do you call somebody that's victorious? You know, I just feel like a winner. Because like I say, all, you know, saying, oh, I wonder when I get off this, I'll be able to have this. I don't have that anymore. I don't care if I eat this way the rest of my life. I mean, there's nothing out there that I want more than the feeling I have now. And I do feel like my brain is working sharper. I mean, I come up with ideas, I come up with thoughts. I think there's a spiritual journey involved where you just kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but it's having a calm brain is really important to me. Um, and I feel slimmer, and my digestion is even better. I mean, my bowel movements are better, and you know, I just feel like my whole body's in tune and working well, and I can eat whenever I want. I'm never hungry, and some people don't think I eat enough calories. Well, that's their problem. You know, I'm functioning. And another thing Dr. McDougall says is when we get older, we don't need 8 hours of sleep. And I think a lot of people are even drugging themselves to get 8 hours. That's crazy.
Mm,
In my view,
yeah.
that's crazy. So if I don't sleep much and I fall asleep during a movie the next night, I don't care.
Right.
I'm
Right.
just living my life. And so if I wake up in the middle of the night and I do my meditation, or I listen to a podcast, or I listen to music, or I just in the quiet listening to myself and looking for guidance, what shall I do today? It's a brand new day. It might be my last day. What's important for me to do right now? And I worry less about the future, because the future never gets here. This is it.
Mm. Mhm.
But if I
Yeah.
die today, I die happy. I mean, you know, I don't care. I mean, nothing worries. I just, I feel peace.
Yeah.
I'm just in alignment, and it feels wonderful. And so, yeah, I just, and I just feel satisfied. And the really fun part for me is when I go to a restaurant or even here at the house, I only have one question. I don't have to say, where am I going to get my protein? Where am I going to get my calcium? Should I have salt today? Should I not have? How much should I use? I just ask myself one question. Is it a vegetable? End the subject. I mean, that's
It's
it.
very easy, isn't it?
So easy. It's so easy because it reduces how many decisions we have to make a day.
Mm.
You know, should I have this much? Should I have this? Would this be okay? You know, asking all these back and forth, like playing ping pong, you know.
Mhm.
And now I'm just heading straight ahead.
Well, I just put a question in the chat for the Green Warriors and wanted to know how often do you find yourself struggling with food cravings? If it Green Warrior, if you're watching, if you can type that in the chat, tell us how often do you struggle with that? And we had a question. Oh, okay. Well, Cindy said weekly. Yeah. So the food cravings can be a real thing, and I'm sure that you probably had them in at least in the beginning of this, and so what did you do to combat them, or what do you think worked for you? And we know that just because it worked for you doesn't mean it will work for everybody, but
Yeah.
maybe somebody can try something that you did.
Well, I've been doing this, it'll be 8 years in July. So say 7.5 years I've been doing this. And two times in December, I mean, I gave in. And I had an uncle, he said, Esther, you know the best way to get rid of temptation? And I said, what? And he said, yield. No, no, people. It was a joke. But I
Mm,
mean,
mm,
I just went crazy. And that's the way I am. It's like a little dab would do me in. And I just, well, what had happened is we went to my granddaughter's choral show, and they had all this free pastries there and candy and all the candy I used to make. And once I got started, I ate a plate full of it. Now, this is after being on the program for 7 years. Now, I wasn't eating meat and dairy like that. You know, I
yeah.
didn't do that. But the sweet was always my sweet tooth. And I just thought, Esther, you're crazy. You know, you can't just have a bite. You just are one of these people that's all or nothing. And so that's why I feel so good now, because I just asked that one question. And it's just
Mhm.
all out of the ballpark. I mean, there's nothing, I don't feel anything could tempt me now. I mean, nothing. The worst thing that tempted me was that potato at Sizzler with a little bit of oil and salt on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just feel like I'm really on my way, and I'm willing to live this way the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I think
That's
someone said that one time, when you start your journey, what could you honestly give up for the rest of your life? And start with that.
mm-hmm.
And maybe it would only be, maybe you'd think chicken is worse than beef, which it is, and you'd give up that. Or maybe you think beef is better, whatever. Or maybe you just choose one thing. Or maybe you choose all animals. Or maybe you choose sugar items. I mean, whatever you can honestly say, I will give this up for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
That's huge. And then let that list grow,
Yes.
and get to the point where, keep your environment clean. I mean, we have all kinds of stuff here that I'm not eating now. I looked at my spice. I have a whole cupboard up here with all these spices. As far as I'm concerned, I could throw them all out. I
Right.
don't need them.
Yeah.
I love the taste of food.
Mm-hmm. And
And
that's because your taste buds have neuroadapt, and the
yes,
flavors, the real genuine flavors, the sweetness in the carrot, the saltiness of the
oh,
celery, they were masked by the oil and all the other things that were going on top of them. And now that your taste buds have been exposed to them for this long period of time, I'm experiencing the same thing, and so is my husband. You can just you just eat something and you say,
yeah.
"Oh my goodness, this has salt in it."
Well,
And if I was eating at a restaurant, I would think, "Uh-oh, somebody put salt on it," but they didn't. It
yeah.
was just in there already.
Well, Dr. McDougall used to say to put a little salt or a little sugar on your food if it's required to get you to eat the food.
Yeah.
He wasn't advocating sugar and salt, but it was more important that you learn how to eat healthy food. And then eventually, if you get to the point you don't need it, you don't need it. So I don't need it.
Yeah.
And so why put it on there? And um, I don't know if I'll ever go back to beans and rice again. You can. But see, the thing I've learned is that many cultures, they had a starch, but they didn't try to eat all of the starches. Because
Mm.
I think variety causes overconsumption.
Yeah.
Think about if you go to a buffet and you have all that stuff there in the buffet to choose from. Most people want to try a little bit of almost everything,
Mhm.
but it's the simple life is so pleasurable. And then I
Mhm.
have time and energy to think about other things, read other things, do other things, help other people and pay it forward and live a life of, good just keeps coming to me and going out from me. I just want to be a channel. That's all. At this little church we go to, we say, God is the source and I am the channel. And that I just want stuff to flow through me. That's all. And
Yes, and it
so that,
does.
yeah.
Terry commented that she struggles whenever I eat too late in the evening. So do you have a cutoff time for yourself for eating in the evening?
No, in fact, one time I was hungry at 11:55, but I thought, okay, if I get up and have a sweet potato now, I'm gonna have to take a picture of it and put it on my Facebook today. So I think I'll wait till after 12 o'clock so I can put it on the next day's food diary. Because I take a picture of everything I eat
Yes.
and put it on my Facebook group. So no, I mean, I think a lot of those rules are little niches that some people have established. I know Dr.
Mhm.
Schaffenberg used to say he didn't want to eat after 2 o'clock. Well, look at the cows. I mean, maybe they have a cutoff time, but they're eating all day long.
Mhm. They're
I think,
grazing, yeah.
and this idea of breakfast having to be breakfast food, is that Kellogg's fault? And
Mhm.
who said that we as humans can't eat the same thing all day long?
Right,
And
and that
so,
was Linda that had just asked, Esther, thanks for sharing. Do you eat the vegetable pot for 3 meals plus whatever you eat when going out? So
yeah, I mean, and if I had lunch with a friend on Tuesday, and we went to a pancake house because that pancake house has some memories for me and also for him. And it was close to where he lived. And so we were there. And you know what was so wonderful? I knew what he ordered when he told the waitress because I heard the words.
mm,
But I was so involved in mentoring back and forth with him, I can't even tell you what he ate.
mhm.
Because before I would be judging him like, oh, he's still eating that and he's still eating that.
Mm.
And so I let all judgment go because he's just not in that place yet. So
Right.
who am I to say he should be?
Mhm.
And so then I asked them, I looked on the menu, and they said they had a side of a dinner salad. They said, well, what kind of dressing would you like on? I said, oh, just plain, no dressing. And so I just picked at it and, ate it while I was there. And we were so busy conversing. So when our lives become more important than our fuel, we're at a different level. And that's a great place to be, where you're not thinking about the next meal all the time. Like the stuff I made this morning, I could eat all day long.
Yeah. And it's nice. That's very nice. Do you ever eat it cold? That's my question. Have you ever had that you didn't have something sitting in the Instant Pot and maybe you had some things in the refrigerator?
I've eaten some things raw. It's hard to eat potatoes raw, but I've done it. Let's see, what do I eat? Well, I like asparagus cold. I love snap peas cold. And that's a fruit and a
they
vegetable.
are a wonderful snack, aren't they?
Yeah. And I think as summer approaches, I'll probably eat more vegetables cut up in a salad instead of in the Instant Pot. But it's still cold here, and we're very conservative people, so we keep our house at about 62. Yeah. And so I like something warm to eat in the soup business. But yeah, and then I've reinvented putting the Yukon Gold potatoes. They're smaller and they have a thinner skin than the russets. And I have this little potato bag, and so when Jennifer was here, I just throw some of those little potatoes in the microwave. And some people don't want to use the microwave, then don't use it.
Right.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I throw in the microwave for 5 minutes or whatever it took. And then when we went and left, we could take them with us. So one time we just sat in the car before we went into this church service. We sat there and ate potatoes for breakfast, and they were warm and they were just perfect. And then later we went to Chef AJ's potluck. And there again, I took my Instant Pot full of potatoes because I wanted to make sure I had something to eat. And so many people at these potlucks, I don't know if I'm projecting my own personality, but I remember when I used to cook, the bigger the better, or the richer the better, and now I just see that as garbage because it's so processed, it's not real. And we're trying to imitate the food that we thought was killing us by making it like that. Does that make sense?
No.
It doesn't to me. And so I just took my potatoes, and then there's this gal, she has a restaurant down in Fresno, her name is Naomi, and she came and she made a wonderful huge pot of green soup, and she put in all kinds of kale and spinach and all kinds of stuff, and cooked it down and cooked it down and cooked it down to where the whole soup was only that. So I thought, well, I think that's something I could have. So I took a cup of that.
Yeah.
And had that. She had put some aminos, something or other in it. But other than that, it was just vegetables and water. But I really don't even like playing with that. Mm-hmm. I want to know that there's nothing artificial in there and there's only good stuff. And it changes your body from being acidic to being alkaline. I mean, there's just so many benefits. I can't imagine. Well, Daniel apparently was eating this way his life. It wasn't a diet for him. And now this church down in Southern California has come out with the Daniel's plan. Excuse me, people.
Yeah.
It's very, I think they even include, I don't know, I got the book just to see what they were doing, but don't confuse the Daniel plan with the Daniel's diet.
Yeah. Yep, there's a lot of hype going around about a lot of things.
But use it if it helps you. But
yeah.
To me, I think a lot of the booksellers are like a prostituting the truth by appealing to the masses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people don't like to hear bad news about their bad habits. They want to be told that what they're doing is right and more is even better. But going back on what you said about all the added seasonings and things, I just did a blog about ground cinnamon that the FDA had found lead in some brands of ground cinnamon, So to me, if you can, I think when you first start, you probably do want to have all these different seasonings and things, and because that you just have, it's a lot easier to transition that way. But over time, when you can eliminate a lot of these things and just go with one single ingredient, and if whatever you buy, if it has one ingredient or the next ingredient says water next to that single ingredient, but I think that it's much safer that way, because we just don't, the FDA can't regulate it's like whack-a-mole. They cannot be testing every single thing out there. So you just really have to be careful. So I decided that when I did use cinnamon, that I would buy my own cinnamon sticks, and I would ground them up if I wanted to use cinnamon that way. So, but it's all a process. You start off this way, and you do whatever plan aligns with you as far as the plant-based lifestyle. But then over time you realize, I don't need all this. And I think that, and people say, what do you eat every day? And you say, if you knew now what I eat every day now, since I've been doing this for over a decade, it might sound boring to you,
Yeah.
but that's how our taste buds neuroadapt, and we realize that now we don't feel sluggish, we don't feel, maybe depressed or anxious or anything. We have that clarity in our brain and the calmness in our mind, in our spirits. And
Yeah.
so food is not the thing that guides us, and that makes our life, worth living, is the food. It's all the things that we get to do now because we have the energy, we have the motivation, and we have that calm, clear mind. That's the thing that it makes us motivated to do other kinds of things. And food is just kind of a thing that we just need for some fuel sometimes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to tell everybody again that we are having a book giveaway, and after the show, you're going to click on, if you're on YouTube, you click more, and it'll show you in the show notes a link that you can click on to enter to try to win Esther's book, From Donuts to Potatoes. And I'm going to, at this point, I'm going to ask Esther if you could maybe read one of the little segments from your book, one of the words from your book to us.
Give me a date.
I'll give you a date. I don't know. I was just thinking today, but I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't really think about what date.
Okay. Well, why don't we go for tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow. That's good.
Oh, wait. No, I opened this up. This is interesting.
Sometimes you just open it up and a page opens up and there it is. Is that how you did it?
Yeah. Well,
okay, that's good.
My bookmark was there because I had read today's word. Today's word was hunger. That was a good one.
That's a good one.
Okay. We often ask the question, what are you hungry for? Of course, we are usually thinking in terms of what to eat. In our present life, choices exist into the hundreds of foods. We have an abundance of fruits, vegetables, grains, and legumes to choose from. But unfortunately, it has not always been these foods that we're thinking of when we try to answer that question. By nature, we are attracted to calorie-dense foods to give us the hit we want. I bet it is rare that any of us have ever experienced real hunger. Sometimes it is not even food that we are hungry for. We might really just be wanting to be a part of a group, hear from family members, get a hug, have someone appreciate us, have more of whatever it is that gives us a temporary sense of relief from the everyday stresses of life. Where or what gives you that hit of dopamine in your brain, your pleasure center in your brain? When you get it, is it ever enough? Or does it take stronger doses of whatever it is to offer relief? Having one's real hunger drive satisfied is just one of the benefits of following a plant-based diet. Hunger is easily satisfied when we eat plenty of starches. No more counting calories, points, or monitoring portions. Eat when hungry, stop when reasonably full, and for me, I eat a lot and never suffer from feeling miserably stuffed. Let hugs, community, learning, and making good choices be your hit for the day.
Oh, that's great. I think that was so apropos for today. Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Well, why don't you just tell us about how people can find you on Facebook, and just tell us about you for those that have not met you yet.
Oh, well, because I wanted to spread the good news, someone said I should start a group on Facebook. So I did several years ago, and it's called Esther's Nutritional Journey. Every day I produce a video. I read from my book or from some other source. I post pictures of everything I eat, and I write a new word for each day. So far in this year, I've written a word every day. So that's just to encourage you. And of course, it's an opportunity for you to ask questions as well. I also post there my Instant Pot times, the amount of time I cook for each thing. And also I have a beginner's manual there, which is helpful for new beginners because my book is kind of my daily journey, but it doesn't tell how to get started because there's so many other books that do that. But that beginner's manual, I believe, is helpful. So you can look for me on Facebook at Esther's Nutritional Journey. If you don't participate in Facebook, if you want to just see some videos, you can put my name in YouTube and other videos with Amy and Chef AJ and different places. Those will show up too with me just talking. And if you want to order a book from me, $20 includes shipping and the book. And if you want it signed, and if you don't order it from Amazon, it saves me a lot of work. And all of the royalties from Amazon sales do go to Dr. McDougall. So you have a choice. But I did order more so that I could offer one to Amy, and I will continue to offer one to Amy anytime I'm with you.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for that, Esther. That's beautiful. So I wanted to thank you again, Esther, for graciously sharing your plant-based journey with us and your insights about Daniel's fast. We're going to be staying tuned to see where that's going to take you. And I mean, your dedication and willingness to open up about your experiences are going to undoubtedly resonate with many Green Warriors in my community. And we appreciate your honesty and your courage and your commitment to promoting health and wellness through this clean lifestyle and through your kindness. So, Esther, what would you say is your final take-home message for our Green Warriors?
Be well, be green with Amy. Just keep watching Amy. I don't take time to watch her enough, but I would say just keep loving yourself and loving other people, but just know what a treasure you are. And you don't have to be like anybody else in the whole wide world. You are created to be who you are. Enjoy it.
Oh, well, Terry said, I love this interview. Thank you both. Well, thank you, Terry, for joining us. We really appreciate having people like you to make those nice comments. And Green Warrior, tell us what you're going to remember from my conversation with Esther. I think that I'm just going to remember about how it's never too late to make a change, and it's always interesting to learn more things and sometimes make a little pivot or a shift in what you're doing, and it can take you to places that you might not expect. I did want to thank Just Task Voice for doing the countdown and the promos. And Just Task Voice, tell us who's coming up next.
What's the secret to vitality? Join us as we delve into 3 critical food mistakes often missed by doctors. Plus, tantalize your taste buds with a sensational cooking demo featuring Sid Notter's Black Bean Mandarin Quinoa Salad. Take control of your health journey. Join us Wednesday, April 10th, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, on Be Green with Amy Live.
And I do want to thank you, Green Warrior, for joining us today. Your engagement and support make these discussions meaningful and impactful, and really do help a lot of people that are watching to know that there are people like you out there that have these questions and have things that you want to learn more about. And please stay tuned for more empowering content, and please subscribe to my channel and share my message with others who can benefit. And together, as Green Warriors, we can make a meaningful difference in the world, just like Esther is doing too. And as a special thank you to all of you, I'm offering you 5 free recipes. So if you go to my website, begreenwithamy.com/join, I will send you them, and you'll see some pictures of me doing some very interesting things. And I wanted to invite all of you and Esther to go ahead and take your right hand and grab your left shoulder, and take your left hand and grab your right shoulder. Now squeeze, because that's a hug from me to you and from me to you, Esther. And if you all would like to join me and Esther as we do my my tagline here that we'll put up on the screen, you can type that in the comments. And are you ready, Esther?
I am.
Okay. Well, until I see all of you again, remember, be strong, be well, and be green. Oh, thank you, Green Warrior. Thank you, Esther. Always a pleasure to have you here with us. We really do appreciate everything that you do. And please stay strong and be strong for us as you are always.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Looking for really tasty recipes that are SOS free? No sugar, oil, or salt. How can it taste good? Well, if you like flavor, then you'll love this Be Green with Amy recipe ebook. Get your copy today. Click on the link in the show notes. Be strong, be well, and be green.